I watched it.
You watched the whole thing?
Yeah. I didn't fucking pull a Bilson.
Hey,
Let's roll
how'd
on
you
this
know?
shit. I got shit to talk about. You're so open about it.
Me?
Yes.
About what?
About how little homework you do.
I normally watch the episodes. I did not watch the entire episode of this one, but I had good reason.
Oh, I wasn't specifically calling you out. All right, I'm going to have to cover for her, Mindy.
Yeah, you
this
are.
episode.
That's why we have you here.
Because you know that I am a professional.
Well, I know that you have a lot to say.
Yeah.
Debatable if it's professional, but you have a lot to say.
Yeah, and I'm not getting paid. I'm the opposite of a professional.
Welcome to the OC Bitches.
Welcome to the OC Bitches, Season 3, Episode 25, The Graduates.
I can't.
I'm already crying. Okay, guys.
I feel like Cassidy over here is an honorary bitch.
with
I mean,
us-
welcome to the OC
For
Bitches.
sure.
You're
Definitely,
an honorary
You're
bitch.
not the first person to call me a
Our
bitch.
unofficial, official third co-host, Michael Cassidy.
Hey.
Look, I need to preface it with the fact that this episode is so emotional,
Oh,
and
God.
it's not just for the viewers or the content of the actual episode, but watching it back, getting into this, reading all of the interviews and reviews and everything online. It was so emotional for everyone involved, and that we literally had to have somebody who wasn't involved in it to help talk about it with us.
Yeah.
That's Michael Cassidy.
Yeah, and let me just say, along the lines of shots fired, I feel like you guys played a trick on me. You were like, you guys reached out. You're like, hey, Cassidy, come do this episode. I'm like, no problem. Sounds fun. Turn it on. No, I've never seen season 3 because I'm not in it.
shit.
And I was like, whoa, fucking everyone. Seth's an arsonist. Like, let's not. The lightest part is that Seth is potentially burning a full-on structure down.
And his parents are like, no, it doesn't matter. We love you anyway.
Yeah, and that's like the
I
fun
feel
little
like
appetizer.
I specify in the beginning of the episode that it wasn't an entire building. There were a few rooms.
Yeah, I don't listen to what you say.
No, but it is. It's such a fucking heavy.
It's brutal.
It's brutal. So I turned it on this morning. I've been putting it off. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not doing
Clearly.
it. I don't want to do it. I can't see it.
Yeah.
I put it on this morning. I'm fucking sobbing at like the beginning, the music,
Yeah.
the graduation, and I didn't even get through the whole episode.
Well, and also there's this weird fold in time for me personally because I didn't even watch the end of season 2. So that came like when the internet became a thing that you could send to other people really easily. Then I got sort of a couple of weeks after it aired, this is the end of season 2, the like killing of Trey.
Oh.
And the music thing that
Wait,
is
you never
so
knew?
Powerful. Well, I knew. I guess I knew, but
He
I hadn't
die.
seen it.
Well,
Trey didn't die.
He survived. But
Yeah, we don't need to
don't know
make this a
that then.
recap of season 2 for Michael.
Okay.
For an
You're
audience
like, but
of
I would
one.
prefer if we just stuck to the Zach storyline.
But this is what I'm saying. I left a show that was like, George Lucas hanging out, love triangles, high fives, and then dudes are getting shot and car wrecks and arson.
yeah.
And I gotta say, there aren't that many jokes in this episode, and I left a comedy.
That's why we have you here today,
Yeah.
just to lighten the load, because I have
It's
to
gonna
say,
be about the trauma that I felt while I was watching it, though.
I really want to unwrap that with you.
well, so I watched it at the beginning of the week and thinking like, I'll be fine because I've watched it enough because I do
She's
watch.
not the crier here.
So then I get to the end and it's late at night. My hair's in a ponytail. I'm doing my first pass on it. And I literally was just like streaming, sobbing because it finally got me. I didn't cry at all until the very end. And so because I had said to Rachel, because she said, I can't watch it. I just can't do it. And I said, you need to do it and you need to record yourself doing it. Well, the fans would like to see
I
you.
forgot that note.
And so then I was like, oh my God, I'm going to record this. So I hit play on my phone and it's just like, I guess we can insert it here.
We just watched the season 3 finale.
Oh man!
But then I watched it again last night, and I realized all of a sudden you would think that I'd be desensitized. I was crying at everything even more.
It's just so heavy because you know what the episode is. So from the beginning, it's just like done.
Well, and let's also talk about the fact really briefly before we get into the episode that it's not just the actual content of this drama that we're watching. Everybody behind the scenes were going through something as well. I started remembering, it started kind of flooding back to me watching the scenes about how we felt on set. And I know like for Norman Buckley, our editor, he was devastated to see that. And also and I think even Matt Ramsey talked about how hard it was to do that episode, to edit it. Josh, well, he couldn't be here today, but he has clearly some very strong feelings about it. And because there's also this idea of, we can get into it maybe later, but how, like, was it the right decision? Like on one side, it was creatively awesome because it really served the characters in the next season. I mean, you think about the storyline that were serving these other characters, but then at the same time, it was so devastating that there was such a strong reaction to the whole thing. Like girls couldn't go to school the next day, and to this day, people still talk about it. It's the one thing that we talk about on this show. So,
well, let's read the synopsis.
Yeah, let's get into it.
It's graduation day for the core 4, not Zach for some reason.
No, it's weird.
I know you did. So you
5.
dropped out.
Yeah, I dropped out. I mean,
you had bigger things
because
going on.
we found out that you turned Atomic County into an animated show.
Absolutely, probably a precursor of what we now understand Marvel to be. I was doing that in San Diego.
You started.
Maybe
Marvel.
you were a senior and you graduated last year.
I always had the opposite. There was kind of a Doogie Howser thing where I was also a genius.
You're like, of course, you made yourself like Doogie Howser.
Yeah. I had it that I was like a genius.
Smart.
Yeah,
I had to leave.
I was 2 years younger than you guys, but in high school and graduated before I went to start.
Moving right along.
Great.
Ryan's mom arrives to celebrate. Seth deals with the ramifications of his past actions. Summer wishes they could all stay together in Newport, and Marissa announces that she is leaving to be with her dad instead of going to Berkeley, peeling potatoes on a boat.
There are a few good jokes about that.
That is
about her doing manual labor. There were some jokes.
Directed by Ian Toynton, written by Josh Schwartz and Bob De Laurentiis.
Is this the only one that Bob did? I don't know. He may have done more in season 4. We'll find out. But Bob was our executive producer.
Yeah, and the original air date was May 18th, 2006.
Oh, that was the day. That was the day.
The day.
Yeah.
So the music died.
So last episode we saw Seth go off with the popo in cuffs, and
that's what happened, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I got that from previously on the OC.
Right. And so now it's almost just maybe a couple hours later because it must be in the middle of the night, right? Because
they're in the same clothes.
Yeah, they're the same clothes and they're waiting patiently, and comes home, and Seth said to Sandy, he denied everything, said he picked it up and left. And then of course he admits to the truth to Ryan. He's like, how do I tell my dad he's the worst dad in the world, then tell him this and the embarrassment? But I think it's like, why lie? Just because you want to get away with it, the consequences.
Seth has like a lying theme going on.
Yeah.
As we know.
I don't know. He called him a bad father, and then he made a stupid mistake. What do you think?
I mean, look, Peter Gallagher, Sandy Cohen is the TV's greatest father ever, right?
Yeah.
So the best part of the rift is when I think that scene where he tells him the truth it was the first time I teared up in the episode.
You teared up?
Oh, multiple times. When you guys were in graduation gowns, it was over for me. I was wrecked.
No, the song comes on, forget
still
it.
Photographs intercut with you guys talking to each other. I was just like, stop it right now. Like, I was in so deep at that point.
It was so hard. But like I said, like, even in the beginning, and there's jokes like Taylor, they're setting up and they're putting the lays on the bleachers. And she had a Korean barbecue, as she says, with her
not
threesome.
one of the best jokes in the episode.
Probably could not get away with that. Nowadays, I feel like it was a little much. But even that, like even during that, I'm like, I can't laugh. I can't be amused. You drop off a letter from Jimmy, and it's all downhill from there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's not a lot of storyline going on because of there's a lot of like graduation and wrapping things up and having these wonderful moments.
Mm-hmm.
But the one part of the storyline that's kind of giving us this urgency is Volchek, because when he goes out to help to move the car that he never moved, Volchek is there.
Didn't you think that was weird when he was like, "No, I'll go to the car. It's been on the street, and I'll go move it." And
Yeah,
then it was
he
just
almost
to
forgot about
set
it.
Just
I thought he
set it up so Volchek could come.
Well,
talk
that
to
was
him.
the thing, but wasn't he doing something? Wasn't he like taking something out of the car? Or
For
was he
Seth.
He was
getting
going
Yeah.
to get it for Seth. He goes, I'm going to go get it. It's in my mom's car. And he's like, oh, better go get it because he left it there when he ran
right?
for the car. But then he's like, you need to help me. And he's like, no, I can't do this. And this is the first time we've seen like Volchek is so desperate. He's got nothing to lose. And he's like, if you don't do this, dude, I'm going to say it. And literally at that moment, I was like, I guess I totally get Ryan saying, yeah, I got to keep this one under wraps. I've got to help this guy because my mom's coming. Like, I cannot let Seth just did this. The stakes are high for if Volchek if he tells on him.
right.
Yeah,
Right.
Ryan's like young adult life on this show is so much about leverage.
Yeah.
Bless his heart.
Yeah.
I know.
He's always getting leveraged or leveraging or even the funny light stuff is like Seth leveraging him often.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting take on it.
It's such
Actually,
a power dynamic.
Right. He's that constant savior, hero.
Well, the thing that I love about Ben's performance that I am on the record on this show saying is that he has a lot of like power that is soft. And he's good at sort of like keeping Ryan's sort of personness while getting just totally worked over by either the system or Seth or in this storyline, Cam's character Volchek.
Yeah.
I like what a deep dive you do on like the characters personally.
Yeah.
What about me?
Does this sound deep? I wonder. If it comes across as deep.
You're like, maybe you just aren't a deep
No,
person. This is deep for you.
That makes a great podcast.
This is as deep as I get.
So the next morning, though, he says, sure, I guess I don't know. We don't know exactly what he's going to do at this point. But then Dawn arrives to speak with Kirsten.
Kirsten.
Kirsten. She did call her Kirsten
She
again.
did. She always calls her Kirsten. And we
They
don't
had a
know if
nice
it's like a conscious choice she's made as an actress or if she just gets the name wrong every time.
Yeah, Kirsten. People call her Kirsten. I've heard people say that, but it is Kirsten.
I'm trying to remember.
If you called her Kirsten?
Well, no. If do I ask or am I told on set if I'm mispronouncing?
You should be told.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I would want to be told.
You're wondering what she did?
Well, I wonder with a name like that, I would instantly be like, okay, who on set is going to help me pronounce one of the main characters' names
and nobody
correctly?
helped you.
I think it's a great.
Sure, it's happened.
Oh,
but then ADR, I can fix it.
I can't tell. I had to say instead of Bethesda because I'm not from the East Coast. I said Bethesda once,
Okay.
and boy, people corrected me like that.
On set.
Yeah, on set.
Okay.
People I correct, but I feel like this is a good character choice.
You think it's a character choice?
I'm going to go with that.
I mean, she says it so many times. It has to be.
Kirsten. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that name, you would live with that in real life all the time, right? So why not present all the pronunciations on the show?
That's true.
Why not?
Very realistic.
Very realistic.
But, yeah, it's and thank goodness she didn't show up in the dress that she picked when we last saw her, which was all rhinestones and stuff. She showed up in very appropriate.
Yes,
I mean,
appropriate attire.
It's
yes,
so
that is
refreshing
true.
to have her here. And Ryan rocks up. He's like, "Hey, Mom!" Like literally, this is the only episode we ever see Dawn where she's feet on the ground, solid, sober. So
The Dawn stuff killed me. Not this scene, but everywhere she is afterward with the car and the.
I know.
I mean, I was just.
So we brought you on for comedy in it. It was dramatic.
And you cried
I had
the
a
whole
dramatic
episode.
experience about which I will try to be funny. No. But I had a dramatic experience watching this show.
I think, you know what? Let's be real.
Dude.
As we were driving here, as I pulled off the freeway to get here, and I was thinking about it, and I started missing up driving because I realized how emotional the whole thing was, not just shooting this. And it stayed with me for months after and then into season 4 because I had to stay in that. And the whole thing it wasn't just like we were doing our dialogue. We all felt
the heaviness.
I can see, like my performance in this was odd to me because I can see that there wasn't just us saying the dialogue. It was Misha leaving the show.
No, yeah.
It was heavy.
If your New Year's goals are to manage your budget better and save money, you need Rocket Money. Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill, is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place.
I love to use Rocket Money to track my spending, and it gives you a breakdown of your finances to see where your money is going and how to improve. And the managing your subscription feature is a massive game changer.
I agree. I had no idea how many subscriptions I thought I had canceled, and I realized I have not. And apparently, I'm not alone. Over 80% of people have subscriptions they forgot about. Like that streaming service you bought to watch just one show on, or that free trial that you never even used. Rocket Money will quickly and easily identify your subscriptions for you, so you can stop paying for the ones that you don't want.
And Rocket Money makes canceling subscriptions as easy as a click of a button. Simply find the subscription you don't want and press cancel. And Rocket Money will cancel it for you. No more long hold times with customer service or tedious emailing back and forth.
Stop throwing your money away. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/OC. That's rocketmoney.com/OC, rocketmoney.com/OC.
So, cereal as a kid was a big deal
Mm-hmm.
when my parents actually let us have it. But each sibling had our favorite, and we would eat it at any time of the day. Sometimes I craved the nostalgic days of childhood cereal. So Magic Spoon has replicated your favorite childhood cereals to taste good. But each serving contains 0 grams of sugar, except Honey Nut contains 1 gram of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and 4 to 5 net grams of carbs. So we do have a subscription that rotates for cinnamon. That's for Adam, and fruity for me. But CJ actually loves the frosted and the chocolate flavors. And I want to try the blueberry. I haven't tried that one yet.
Magic Spoon is also keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, and a soy-free way to relive those moments watching your favorite cartoons. It comes in tasty flavors such as cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry muffin, and maple waffle. I love this cereal. I love anything that tastes sweet. And this reminds me of all the cereals of my past. And Briar likes them too.
Watching cartoons. I love that.
Yeah.
Head to magicspoon.com/theoc to grab a custom bundle of cereal and try the magic for yourself. And be sure to use our promo code TheOC at checkout to save $5 off your order.
And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked.
Remember, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/theoc and use the code TheOC to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode.
There's the scene before graduation with Summer and Marissa, or when Marissa's telling her that she's going to go on the boat.
Yeah.
And like hugging her goodbye in that scene, like I remember vividly just the feeling because it was like really goodbye.
Yeah.
Because
it was real.
It was real. It's just, and I keep saying the heaviness because I keep feeling it, and it's so sad. And you know what I'll say is like, I know Josh says like, we shouldn't have killed her character, and like maybe it would have went on and on, but because this happened, oh, spoiler alert, by the way. Because that did happen, it's such more of like a conversation and a topic, and I feel like it's still talked about because it was so massive.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, well, I just think it's important. This is the one thing that we can give the audience and let them know. This episode in particular, it was real. The emotion was real because we knew Misha was leaving. And I mean, God bless her. I could feel like Misha was a rock star in this episode. And I could feel there were scenes that, sometimes when you're doing a show 10 months out of the year, and we can do it like this, sometimes where we can kind of, there's better days than others where you're really like, I'm looking at the clock. I can't wait to get home to my child kind of thing. That can happen.
Yes.
And this was intense. Like I could feel her power. I could feel her in the scenes. And I remembered that as I was watching. I was like, oh, I remember that. So I just want to say it again. These were real emotions for us personally. And I think it was like that for everybody. It permeated through the whole set and everybody. Yeah.
I think that you felt it most.
Well, I do want to say that you brought up one of my favorite scenes in the episode is your scene with her. You both, Mindy and Rachel, do something that's really hard as an actor. You both have a scene where you get surprised and you both play surprise so authentically in this episode.
Really?
Yeah. So your scene is when Caitlin arrives at Michael Norrie's house or your guys' house, and you didn't expect to see her, and it's odd that she's there. And my experience of shooting scenes like that in your role is that
Because you have experience shooting scenes in her role?
I just mean like in the role that you play in that scene, which is the person who's like, what are you doing here? How is this supposed to work? That's how you're sort of like shepherding the storyline in that scene. I hate those scenes. Like, I find it really difficult because the least surprising thing about our job is the scripted material. That's the part that you've had the longest.
The exposition.
Yeah, there might be somebody slip and hit their head, God forbid, on a C-stand, and that's surprising.
Jesus.
But I did that recently, a couple years ago.
What?
Yeah, in a stunt, and then I hit my head.
Did you get a concussion?
No.
You sure?
No. But Mindy, you are so surprised to see her, and it's like, isn't this weird? Isn't this weird? And you have a wonderful, simple performance in that scene, and I want to acknowledge you for that.
Mindy's like, really? Tell me
then
more.
in the summer, dude, should we talk about it more? Let me just see what I wrote down about it. And then in the summer Marissa scene, I mean, your performance is wonderful in that scene.
Are you sure you didn't get a concussion? Because there are a lot of compliments.
Yeah, I had a concussion that made me fall in love with a couple of former coworkers.
Oh, that's really nice to hear. Because
she just totally blindsides you, and you are like, oh, and you're so Summer, which is accepting and loving, but also you really present your inner experience of it, even though it's not in the words, in my opinion.
That's beautiful.
And it was very potent.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, those are nice words, Michael Cassidy.
I know,
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah.
That's why we keep you around.
Thank you for sharing your gift with all of us.
Oh, gee whiz,
You
sir.
guys.
Yeah.
All right.
I feel like Zach needed to be here at graduation.
I know. I
You would've been a
wrote
wreck.
that down.
You would have been a wreck. You would have been crying.
You
His hair
would've
would have curled from all the emotion.
It would have gone
You
red.
would have been crying. It was strawberry blonde. Yes.
Well, speaking of Caitlin showing up, strawberry blonde, red.
We cannot.
You're never
talk
gonna
about
live
my
that
hair color.
down.
Okay.
Ever.
It looks good today.
Ever.
So, but then Caitlin does show up, and she does have that funny little exchange. Kind of, she's back for good, and she gives us a little taste of what it's going to be like next year when she tells, Mr. Roberts, Dr. Roberts, can you turn my A's into B's? And he's like, oh, I think augmentation is a conversation for your mother, Caitlin. It's like,
I wonder if that's like a job, like if people are constantly talking about their breasts to people who have that job, or if he should have actually had boundaries, because he didn't really. He was sort of like, look, I wouldn't turn down a contract.
Well,
or he was just a real creepy guy.
Yeah, or he was a creep. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
he comes off
I
creepy.
think he handled it okay.
You do?
As a doctor. I think he spoke like a doctor. She was being
like augmentation.
yeah.
Talk to your mom. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because he knows he knows how to deal with a teenager, right? Kind of.
Oh, right. I'm his daughter.
But then Julie was like, he's like, that's nice of her. She's like, yeah, too nice.
Yeah.
Because she's like, she's me. What's going on?
She's me.
So then we go into the scene, which I actually was because we've been so frustrated with Seth all of this time, all this line, all this which makes for great television because we're having reactions. We're not apathetic. And so he sits down he goes to Sandy and says, first he says, please don't do that cheer.
Yeah.
Which is like Seth or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Insert cheer here, which is very cute. And he's like, yeah, that one, don't do that. And he goes, and I actually smoked a joint, forgot to put it out. Oh, first he goes, how come Sandy Cohen has to be the best dad ever?
Yeah.
Under his breath. Great line.
Great line.
It's such a great line.
Yeah.
And so then he tells him the truth and he says, I smoked a joint and accidentally didn't put it out. And he does this look where he's kind of looks over and Sandy goes, thanks for coming clean. I'm very concerned about this line. And I was like, in capitals, I know no dad that would react like that. My dad would never have reacted like that. It would have been like, shit.
My dad would have been like, why'd you take my joint?
Shots fired.
Okay.
We're catching strays.
But then he does explain in that scene about, he sits down, he's like, this line thing is kind of confusing. And he was like, yeah, Dad, I tried to, but then you were so busy and I didn't want to upset Mom. So now I was like, okay, finally some clarity. His mom is a recovering alcoholic.
Yeah.
He's doing things that he's like, I'm this teenager. How confusing it must be for someone who's like, this is the age I'm supposed to be doing this, but yet I can't tell my parents about it because of I kind of then had some clarity. What do you think?
I mean, I thought at the end of this scene, I thought, man, it's hard to be a kid. I think that human life is confusing to our youngest people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Sandy is an example of what kind of parent we can be, that you can be more of a witness to your child's own life rather than a framer and manipulator of their
how you're putting that
point of view, particularly as the children get older and you give them a car. Like, you can't give a kid car keys and then be like, you drove where? You know, like logically. You can emotionally, and you can guide them. But I don't know. I definitely would aspire to be the kind of parent who's like, wow, you got a lot going on.
Well, because he did. I mean, I could take the opinion that he got off scot-free.
Yeah.
But because Sandy isn't reacting with ego and anger and fear, he's reacting with what you said. This kid is on his journey.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, we both screwed up, Seth. He's so and especially for kids, when two parents aren't in that parental role where the kid feels comfortable and safe with them, things are going to happen that kind of go by the wayside or slip through their fingers, whatever it is. And it would, yes, I think that anybody that reacts in a traditional way, like probably a lot of parents would do, a punitive way and an anger way, a lot of times there are people that are trying to control the world anyway. And you can't just control the world. So stop trying to control, let your kid be on their journey with some parameters. I was surprised he didn't say, I think normally Sandy would have said, okay, but we're going to have to ground you or something. But he said, but this is still a serious thing, hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage. But I don't want anything to ruin this day. And that right there is what an amazing dad.
Yeah.
Let's not damper this day.
Yeah.
Because it could have easily.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. No way.
No.
I'd be like, let me ruin this day for you.
That's
Because
just
you
how you
negatively
roll.
impacted me.
No, you're just like, every day I am a day ruiner.
Well,
absolutely.
This episode, again, it just has so many things that tie up nicely, and we have a lot of hanging out. And that's when Marissa pulls you aside to tell you the news, right? She wants to tell you in that room.
Yeah, the scene we talked about.
Yeah.
Which was very, very hard.
It is a kind of a cute idea that I guess she was this societal girl that was probably going to be not necessarily below deck, right?
Below deck med.
Below deck med.
Who watches it? Who knows it?
You know what? There's nothing better. When I finished the OC, I went on river trips. I was river rafting. And then
you were peeling potatoes?
Totally.
Oh.
I literally went on, they call it swamper. Like, you're literally the gopher, the swamper, where you carry people's bags. And at one point I was on this trip and these people were like, is that Julie Cooper carrying my bag? And I was like, yep. And they're like, this is really weird. I'm like, no, that's what I wanted. It was like being on a big hit TV show, doing red carpets. And I was like, this is what I need to do. I need to kind of ground myself and do something else be of service.
That's really funny visual, though. People like river rafting. Like, is Julie carrying my bag?
I would go so far as to say that Mindy would have ruined my trip personally. I would have been like, get TV out of my rafting trip right now. Like, I didn't bring my TV for a reason. Get her out.
Oh my
I'll
God.
carry my own bag.
Because here I am, just a walking TV.
Get TV out of here.
Oh my God. But can I tell you, on the first trip I did, I remember we did this trip and it was not too long after the show had ended.
Yeah.
And we were having fun, drinking. And literally somebody asked me about, Marissa dying. And I started sobbing, like drunk crying. This is sad. And I was realizing it was stuck with me because, I was like, is this acting?
I just love that you're telling that on a river rafting trip.
Yeah,
well, they were my friends. We were all together, but.
What if it wasn't and there were just people and you're like, Marissa died. She died.
It was really
sad.
I was like, it was really sad.
It was sad.
That is sad. It's anyway, I could not watch the whole. So there's scenes you guys are going to have to maybe tell me about. I might cry, but you're going to have to explain them
We'll
to
get
me.
there. We'll get there.
So Volchek's in his van, hiding out like a little hermit that he is, and Heather shows up with some clothes. She's kind of that,
Yeah, she has to tell him it's Marissa.
She's
the
like,
best thing
what
that
is
ever
really
happened to you.
on? Yeah.
And you regret letting her go.
Poor Heather. Heather's got a tough role in this episode. I mean,
she does have a
she's
tough
got to
role.
like get him going in a direction and then try and get him to turn around almost immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, she was just almost accosted or almost sexually
you
assaulted
missed this part.
by his friends.
I
and
read
she's
it
still
in a
hanging
recap
out.
before I fired up the episode. I read the recaps.
You actually read all the recaps?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You guys, I
thanks.
take this
Preparation,
too seriously.
my
too seriously.
friends.
Also, I know I'm gonna have to cover for you the whole time.
Well, that's why you're here. The only reason you're here.
That's right. I'll cry your tears when we get to the real sad stuff.
I'm ready and waiting. Crocodile
But,
tears.
I thought Volchek's, he's really, really desperate, clearly. But then when Heather goes, why don't you just take off? You can get the money. And because she knows, she goes, this is Marissa. This girl has gotten to you. And all I could think was, every single guy that's ever been involved with Marissa, except Seth, is obsessed with her.
Yeah.
He's not, just
Maybe
friends.
Seth was obsessed with her.
Who knows?
Who's
Yeah.
to say?
That would be a pretty deep track, though, because it really doesn't come out at all.
I know they barely hug at the scene at the
Yeah, he
pool.
doesn't want to touch her at the pool.
So
Yeah,
you go,
I don't
Summer
know the pool
goes-
scene. What happens at the
Summer
pool,
goes,
you guys?
we'll tell you.
I'm asking.
God, Rachel.
oh, we'll get there.
Sorry.
We'll get
Sorry,
there.
Mindy. Okay.
She's used to it.
So when Seth and Ryan walk into the harbor one last time, and they're in their robes, and the heckler shows up.
You're wearing a
Literally.
dress.
Yeah.
It's like you're literally wearing the
Oh,
same
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
He goes,
yeah.
yeah, but it doesn't matter.
That was probably Zach's best friend a couple of months before.
1000%.
Yeah, they're
That's
like-
actually who replaced you.
Oh man. But Summer is at this point. I keep missing this little part. She's like, "Is everything okay at home?"
Right.
And I mean, she's so concerned because at first she was like, "Is he even going to be able to graduate?"
Right.
Like, what do you know? I mean, those are kind of things. Those being arrested, burning down a building, being arrested might prevent you from graduating.
Mhm.
So Summer,
Yeah.
he's like, "No, Sandy Cohen and I got a little man boy loving going on." So those are good. But then Marissa pulls Ryan aside to tell her.
This scene.
Because you remember Ryan tried to take off on a fishing boat. And she's like, "What do you think?"
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
And she says, "What do you think? You think it's stupid?" And he was like, "No, it's actually it's a good idea." And I thought
What
it
is
was
that,
really
like,
sweet.
Why is it that like unconditional love from a person, once you understand how difficult it is to give the love, is so compelling to watch? Do you know what I mean?
Look at you just
Yeah.
coming
Why
up
is that
with
though?
all of
That's
the
a thing.
insight.
That is a real thing, right?
Yes.
If you watch a person
it's like they
give
really
someone love, even though it's difficult for them
But
to
that's-
give it,
But that's how
forget
you know
it.
you really love someone
Yes.
is when you can be like, that is absolutely the best thing for you
Yes.
to do and
Yes.
support it.
Yes.
Even if selfishly it's not what you want. Ryan and Marissa's scene. Oh, you keep getting hit with that. Are you
I want to
okay?
be right up on it. I mean,
It just
right
keeps
up
like
on it.
smacking you in the mouth with the microphone.
Well, sorry. This
He's
is
a
only
little
my
excited,
third
guys.
episode.
He's a little excited.
But he did say, "I want to take you to the airport.
Yeah, he wants
I
to
want to be
take-
the
and
last
she
wants-
person you see."
Dude.
She wants it too.
And I want that too.
Ugh.
So now here we go. Here's the graduation montage, Speeding Cars by Imogen Heap. The second time I watched this music just got
Yeah.
me. And
No.
I
It's unreal.
started
No.
taking photos
Instantly.
of it. I
No.
love the home movie kind of whole
No.
aspect of it.
Just as
And
soon as it starts.
It's
just-
so meta.
game
It's
over.
like you guys, the four of you were so something for the audience that was beyond the show at
I'm
the
gonna
time.
start crying. It's like
And
even picturing
this
it.
montage acknowledges that. This montage acknowledges that like only 4 people are really graduating, not the other.
I mean, there
you
were
know
like
what I mean?
600
Like,
other people there, but
Yeah.
like, sure.
there's only
Yeah.
30 in the class though.
yeah.
So, but when Sandy goes, "Sethy."
Ugh.
Yeah.
You
Seth.
guys, I can't.
And you did some cheering.
For
you
Marissa.
stood
For
up.
Marissa.
You straight up hooted and hollered.
Well, and because we see that Julie, she was so misguided, but she really is like, it's such a big deal. When you think of everything that's gone on with Marissa, and now she gets to see her graduate.
Yeah.
And Sandy and Kirsten only just recently found out that Seth's been doing all this like naughty shit.
Yeah.
And so I think they always knew he was going to graduate. I guarantee you, Julie, from where she's been from and seen what her daughter's been through, from Tijuana, drugs, alcohol, all this stuff, she didn't know if her daughter was going to make it to graduation.
Yeah.
and the bittersweetness of what's
It was
coming.
really cute because when Marissa graduates, Misha was so cute. She like waves and it was like really Misha. Like I saw like a little Misha moment in her wave as she graduated, and that got me too. I was like, motherfucker.
I know.
Well, and as an actor, the other thing I was thinking as I was watching the montage was like, those moments are hard to fill because they say we're going to set up the cameras and the lights, and then you guys just like be your characters, and you're like, well, I usually just learn the lines and say them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't, and we're going to shoot, we're going to record dialogue too, so make sure it's kind of in the neighborhood of what you'd be saying at your high school graduation. You're like, what are you talking about? But it worked out, man.
It did. I remember us really having fun, and when the pictures were being like we were just being us and like goofing around and having fun together. And while I was watching it, my only note was, "Where's Zach?"
Right. Well, we were on the same page.
I was watching with some subtitles, and I took this picture, Rachel.
What is it?
It's a picture. This is.
Is that what we say to each other? Melinda's showing me a picture of Adam and I, and you can read it. Let's have Cassidy read it here.
Rachel's saying, "I know you," and Adam is saying, "I'm being nasty?" Question mark.
This is the subtitles. I mean, because you can't hear anything.
I don't quite understand what's
the
going on.
last time I was here, there was a whole subtitle revelation. Also, I forgot about that.
She loves the
That's
subtitles.
Your professional tool.
Yeah, hers.
Well,
I still don't use them. I probably should.
I turn them off immediately. Sometimes YouTube just turns them on. I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah, it's hard.
Because
it's distracting.
It's interesting what it picks up, and apparently Adam or Seth is always saying some little nasty thing to you.
I mean, that tracks.
Yeah,
I was going to say that. I know exactly what that's about.
I mean, that definitely tracks.
But then let's give it up for Autumn Reeser doing this speech.
Her languages. I mean, when she speaks Korean, she's speaking Latin, right?
And she says, well, I'm not going to speak Latin. Can you do it?
Michael's going to do it.
No, I can't.
Illegitimi
non carborundum.
Comprendum. Don't let the bastards get you down.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell that fun fact?
No, you can do it. Oh.
I'll do it. Yeah. Fun fact, there is another Latin riff translation from above. Nolite te bastardes carborundorum.
Oh, boy.
Which was written in Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale in 1985 and has become a rallying cry for the TV series. No, I'm going to let you do the part that's probably your words.
No, I think Katie wrote this.
Well, Katie wrote this. She wanted to know if
she asked if Josh was a fan of Handmaid's Tale because Margaret Atwood.
Yes, and Ryan Atwood.
Yeah, and Josh said no.
Oh.
Ryan Atwood was not named after Margaret
Oh,
Atwood.
I thought you said he was.
Handmaid's Tale.
I was about to
You
say.
thought I said he was? Wow, I really wish you would have answered that question. Like, yes, Ryan Atwood was named after Margaret Atwood because Josh Schwartz is such a fan of Handmaid's Tale.
I feel like that's an easy yes if you're him now. You just say yes, even if it wasn't true.
Okay. So they go to dinner and they go to dinner and Sandy has this pretty epic speech. There was another funny thing. Oh my gosh. At the very beginning, the subtitle is, I think the subtitle, Sandy says something, I hear in the background, you hear him say, well, you can't be part racist.
Yeah, you're not.
That is what he says, right?
I heard it. Yeah,
I
he
thought the
definitely
same
says
thing. And I'm like, did he just say, like, what?
I don't know what that was, in the script or if they were.
That was Peter, like, improving?
Yeah.
Such an odd improv.
Yeah.
I feel like it was him improving. Like, I feel like that is something Peter would be like, I'm just going to say you can't be part racist.
Yeah, that would be a weird thing to write. Like, now you get some network notes on that script.
Like, I'm just going to write this for you. The top of the scene.
I actually think that what I quickly thought when I heard it was that he's chastising someone for telling a racist joke and saying, look, if you tell those kind of jokes, you are racist.
I love that you go there with it. You're like, where did this come from?
I do. I write
He was telling a joke.
Yeah.
Someone told a joke. And this was his response.
Yeah, I mean, Sandy Cohen also.
But who has that kind of time in their mind?
He has a very heartwarming speech. I know. I mean, this is definitely one of those speeches that kind of sums up what it's like, this exposition, but kind of sums up what's been going on. That the last few years have been a little rough. There's been tragedy, comedy, first loves, and broken hearts. Family members were lost and found. It hasn't been all perfect, but we are all family here. Now, when he said that, I was like, wait. It's Julie, because I always felt like Julie wasn't really a part of it. But then I was like, oh, she's with Dr. Roberts now, so there really is this family connection dynamic going on. And then we cut to Rachel Bilson playing Summer Roberts with tears streaming down her eyes. And Seth, it was so, I was like, that's Rachel. That was you, right?
I mean, I was there.
But no, I just felt like sometimes we have to like work it up and act, But
was I crying?
Oh, you were just sobbing. You're like, it's all coming to an end.
Oh,
I just saw that I was wearing the dress that Robin gave me.
Yes.
When she was here.
Yeah.
That's still in the back of my car.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, good that it's still in my. I just haven't brought it into the house. I have it. I should have brought it in.
Yes. So then Marissa and Julie have a sidebar because Marissa's like, now she has to tell Julie about this. I'm really glad that.
Oh yeah.
So she's like, it's okay, honey. I already know. She's like, you do?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah.
Yeah, I cried for this scene.
Did you?
Yeah, because
You
when
did?
Caitlin comes in, it's like all these dangerous / harmed, traumatized and traumatic people all hugging at the same time. I just
So this is where first of all, she gives her the biggest fat pearls I've ever seen.
I like that you're like, if pirates, what do you say? It was funny.
She says you can always booty. You can
If
barter
pirates
it. You can
come-
barter it.
With pirates. You mentioned pirates because
Pirates,
she's
yeah.
going on a ship and it was funny.
Yeah. She's pretty
I was
funny.
a fan.
I looked this up. I was like, how much would this thing actually go for?
And
It's like
how
$2,000 or
much?
$3,000 or something like that. Probably.
I mean, that's not nothing.
the
No.
pearl necklace.
Yeah. But I thought my performance here was odd in that I was watching it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't notice the first time. And the second time I was like, why do you look so scared? Like I was like, kind of like, there was something when she came up and instead of like, I don't know what it was, but I felt like it was Julie was nervous or the performance felt odd to me. I don't know if it was
because you
me.
said just because you knew what was happening in the
Yeah.
episode. I didn't think it was odd. I have a question though. Do you think that it was a pearl necklace just to support the pirate joke?
Yes.
Maybe.
Yes. I think that's a great. How do you come up with these pithy observations? Because I think you're exactly right.
Yeah.
That's a great. That is a great observation. It absolutely
You're like human being in the human condition and life and love and
But
family
also,
and
why
parenting.
pearls? Yes, that's
These
why.
are the questions I ask.
Yeah, no, I think they're the same thing. I think we're both detectives.
Or a pearl necklace.
Yeah,
I
for
mean-
a pirate joke.
Oh.
To serve a pirate joke.
Not where I was going with
She was
that one.
thinking something else.
Not where I was going with
Oh,
that one.
God.
So
Mindy, just to go back to something
Yes.
appropriate.
Yeah.
Wrong podcast.
I thought that I noticed like probably the thing you're talking about but I wasn't you, so I have compassion for what you're seeing when you're watching yourself so much for your job now. God bless you. But what I thought was Julie's not a mom in any sort of like you know what I mean?
traditional sense.
She doesn't have a traditional. That's right.
There's
So
a
her vibe is always going to be
teenager.
yeah, just
too.
like, 15 minutes off, It's just all the time, even when it should be more centered.
She's not Sandy.
She's not
Kirsten.
Sandy.
Yeah.
You're definitely not Sandy.
But that's why the character, there already is a Sandy.
Yeah.
You can't
Right.
be Sandy.
No, it was there was this moment where I was like,
Gonna make
show.
another
when
inappropriate
Caitlin
joke.
came up and she says, I already knew. And I was like, you did? Like all of a sudden it was this like, I don't, she felt like this little mouse or something.
Yeah.
She felt very vulnerable. She felt and I was like, what's going on there? I felt like it was more Mindy or something. But this is actually a great little scene when Taylor comes to say goodbye and she's like, you're not going to even go to the party? And she's like, no, we're going to go to Taiwan and decommission some mines in the DMZ. And then she says, but thank you for letting me be second tier. What's the term?
Fab Four,
Inner
right?
circle?
Well, she says second tier, whatever that means.
Uh-huh.
And she says, well, I think it's time for you to be in the.
It's like when Brody told me the first year that I was much lower on the totem pole.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
When did he tell you that?
First season.
On set?
Oh, no, he said that's because I'm higher on the totem pole than you.
Oh.
That was Brody's humor, though. He was being
course.
funny.
Sometimes facts are
'Cause it was
facts.
funny.
He was at that point, probably.
No, he definitely was.
Yeah.
But I was like, what a dick.
But then he says, no, I think it's time for you to be the inner circle. She's like, oh my God, fat pipe,
Stoked, yeah.
which is very cute.
This is where I sign off, guys.
This was it?
This was it for me.
Well, you can read what happens.
Oh, no, actually, maybe it's not. Let's see. Where are we?
So Marissa.
I see
Volchek-
Ryan get the car. That already happened.
So Volchek calls and he says to her, I need to
oh,
see
yeah,
you.
no, I saw this.
Yes, I need to see you. And she's like, no. And he says, she says, don't threaten me, Orion. He says, well, you better ask him about the car we stole. Then we see Dawn, in between that, I guess, Dawn has given Ryan a car, which is so cool. And I was with Adam because he used to have cars like that. And I'm like, what kind of car
love
is that?
that car. It's a Land Cruiser.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
things are rad. Yeah.
It's a pretty rad car, right?
Yeah.
It's a rad car.
Yeah.
So
Also, it had to be a cheap car.
Why?
Well, we know how the episode ends, you guys.
It had to be something we could. Yeah.
Huh? I was watching and I was like, it's
I thought
really
you were making
cool,
kind of like a weird
rundown car.
classist comment about a fictional character. I was like, okay, we
You know
get
I
it.
don't
She
go
doesn't
that
have as
deep,
much
Michael.
money
We've
as
been
you
over
guys.
this. Pearl necklace. Come on now.
We should have like just a special pearl necklace riff at the end of the episode for bonus subscribers or whatever you guys have here. And we'll do a whole pearl necklace thing. Okay. Just ideas, pitch it, write it down on the little window between us. And all right, pearl necklace. Okay. Because I do have some stuff for that.
I'm like, okay, can't wait to hear what you don't have. Okay.
Okay.
So
it was a wonderful thing. And we don't
it's
see
a rad
Ryan.
car.
We don't see Ryan get that excited about too many things.
Yeah, he was super stoked.
And it was really sweet. And
I mean, in high school though, that is the car you would want. Like, it's so cool.
and,
yeah.
and these guys,
Right?
neither one of them have cars. Because in that next scene, when
Don't you think that's weird? They're like really wealthy community and like they don't have, they just drive the parents' Range Rover. Like, it's weird, right?
well, and then because and maybe there's a reason for that, but I thought that was also a fun line where Seth the next day was like, "What? You got a car? I'm the spoiled one. I'm supposed to be the spoiled one. I've been waiting 3 years for a car."
Yeah.
Which sometimes I think it's a good thing. Like my parents never bought me a car.
No.
I had to drive the '64 Volvo, which I hated, but apparently it was very cool.
Yeah.
I would we sold it at some point and I'd see it around LA. Some guy would be driving it
the
around.
same exact one?
Yeah.
Oh, heartbreaker.
Yeah, and it had those like
How did
really,
you know? Did it
was a-
have like pink stripes?
No, well, it was a specific blue color, and it
Okay.
had that it was a like a station wagon Volvo 64, and it had those small surfer windows, like you could.
Oh yeah.
I would see it around downtown. But it was a rad car.
That sounds rad.
I thought it was cool. Or after I sold when I got older.
I did have a car.
You know, I gotta say,
I was given a car on my
Sweet
16th
16
birthday.
on the day. Not a moment too soon.
you know, I thought about this too. The Coens had a lot of cars, and it was very unspecific. Sometimes they had Range Rover, sometimes they had Lexus.
Mhm.
And I have a feeling it depended on what was sponsoring, because Lexus
Absolutely.
was a sponsor.
The few times that I've done a show with multiple seasons, those things are exactly that. They're all tie-ins and what can we get and how much does it cost? Although I do remember somebody blowing my mind on set one day of this job. Somebody was like, they put a Lamborghini in the background of a shot or something, and they were like, yeah, this only cost us 10 grand. And I was like, who cares what car is in the background? Like, we know it. It's season 2. Everybody knows you're in Newport Beach. Why are they paying 10 grand for it?
Yeah.
But there was some sort of deal with it.
Yeah. Well, and Caleb had
That's
a
a really
McLaren.
interesting
Or was
story.
it McLaren? Or no.
Thank you for sharing.
Oh my God.
Caleb had the Aston Martin, that light blue.
Oh yeah,
silver
I
one.
remember
It's
there was.
amazing.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was. That was the day I learned that was a kind of car.
I remember Adam, my husband, he did commercials, and there's one of the most expensive cars in the world, not a Bugatti, or is it called a Bugatti?
That sounds like
They
a
do
car.
have
Just the insurance for the day was $60,000.
Oof.
Just the insurance. So yeah,
Oof.
it's a very wasteful industry.
Can't justify that.
You know, some of these things. Anyway,
Yeah.
can be. But
Let's talk about capitalism. What are we saying?
What-
I feel like we're finding something.
yeah. So Caitlin, how funny is this? This song, "Bossy" by Kellis. Khalees, there you go.
No problem.
See, that's why we need you.
This is why I'm here.
Because I'm.
Solely the reason.
But what
Well,
if
no, there's 2
What's the other one?
pearl necklaces.
And he brought it home.
But when she says that she's taking over the she's taking over Marissa's room.
Yeah.
And she's like, look, everyone always thought of me as Marissa's little sister, and now I can rule Harbor. And she's like, is this going to stay, these abs up on the wall?
Yeah.
She's like,
Places of worship. That was
Yeah.
my favorite part of the montage. There was a street sign that said places of worship.
oh my God, is that what it said?
Yeah.
I didn't see
There's
that.
a couple of things in there. One of them is places of worship. I loved it.
Oh, yeah. And Julie knows how to handle Caitlin. She's just like, okay, this will be interesting. It's a different child.
Moving right along.
Marissa gives Ryan the necklace.
necklace.
And they're going to go, they're going to
They're
do
going
it
to pawn
together.
it to give the money to Volchuk.
this is great. I mean, them doing some things together.
And like he's let Marissa in on what happened.
She's like, I'm gonna miss bossing you around. I mean, there's just this lightness to like this one last time we're gonna do it together.
Yeah.
You know, it is like, you know. And then Seth, and then Kirsten talks to Seth, another one of these like scenes where she's like, it's fine. Like way too understanding, and I love her, but not way too.
Well, but she's also, you know, has her vices as well going on.
Right. When she says, I think the fire is the best thing that happened to us, it says like, well, then I did it on purpose. Okay. You know, it's like, wow, you know, he got off so well
Easy.
because he's got the best parents. But you know what? I love parents that take responsibility for their own things. And
yes, I cannot relate. No, I'm just kidding.
So then Volchek comes to, oh, wait.
No, he comes to meet Ryan to get the money.
Yes, right.
And Ryan meets him to give him the money, and he just wants to talk to Marissa. Like, he's begging to talk to Marissa Volchek. And Ryan is like, no.
And they speed
and
off.
Then, then he sees Marissa, tries to talk to her. They speed off.
And now he's getting
He's getting heated.
Desperate.
Yeah.
And as the car drives away, all I could think of was he's embarrassed, he's desperate, he's ego-driven, and somebody ran over his puppy when he was little.
Yeah.
Like,
that's where you went with, like, his puppy got ran over?
Yeah. Because he's carrying that with him his whole life.
Yeah.
Because something happened in his childhood.
Definitely puppy energy. I wrote that down too.
Okay, now this is where I'm out.
Julie says goodbye to Marissa.
Oh, God.
And I remember this scene so specifically, and just being, like I said before, before we started, being so blown away by Misha's presence in the scene. Because, you know, here Julie's saying, you know, everything I did it for you, good, bad, or ugly. And then I did that thing with Luke, and then I did that thing with Ryan. It's just really funny. But everything was about you. And she cuts her off, and she's like, Mom, I just love you.
Oh,
and she was, there's sometimes, you know, as actors, we have to pull it from ourselves. But when you're actually in a partnership with the other person that pulls it out of you, this scene was like that.
Yeah.
You know, so it was.
Well, you spend, like you said, you spend so much time together. At a certain point, the writing will align with sometimes your familial relationships that you develop as a result of being on set together.
Right.
Yeah, that's nice when it is. It's like it makes the job easy.
This wasn't, the stakes were high for us personally too. And there was a definite energy on set of this being like losing a part of the family. And it wasn't like we were all happy-go-lucky going, hey, how's it going? I said, you know, it definitely was a somber feeling.
I mean, I can't even watch it.
Yeah.
Wait, so we decided to skip the graduation party and hang out one last time, and there's a montage?
Yes. There's a pool montage.
Montages.
So yeah,
I could not have gotten past. I could not.
It was the cutest montage.
Yeah, it was really cute, especially.
Why? Because I was being funny.
Yeah, you were being funny. You were being cute. You were doing all this great stuff. But I didn't know she was gonna. Die.
You didn't know she was gonna die? What?
Oh, I thought.
Oh my God!
You know you were on this show, and like it was like a thing. Are you sure?
Tell me more about that. Tell me more about that, Rachel.
You never knew, like in the publicity or
you never read
show,
it
you
or
never
saw
heard
it.
about it.
I didn't remember that she had expired. So when she says, "I'm going to work on the boat," I was like, she's sailing away from the show. She's leaving the show.
I love this.
Job done.
You're the best person for this podcast.
Yes. Total moron.
That's not a big moron.
Just a complete clean slate.
Oh,
a 39-year-old Alzheimer's, just like no idea where he is.
Oh, the pool. When it's like we're at the pool.
So Marissa has an idea. Marissa has the idea to go to the model home and play in the pool.
And this is where we're actually playing and having fun, and we're eating In-N-Out and all that.
Oh yeah,
so
it's amazing.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I was there.
And
but
you
I've
filmed
seen
it. Yeah.
Yes.
And I felt it.
And it was very funny because they revealed that
I was wearing my own bathing suit. I think this is the one where I had my personal bathing suit on.
Okay.
I know that's interesting.
I noticed that.
I know,
when I was watching it, I was like,
I know that's really
hers.
important in this particular episode.
Yeah. Yep.
But then they're going back, from the first party, and it's revealed that Summer actually invited Ryan, and Seth was like, "What?" And he's like, "I do not like this walk down memory lane." He's getting more and more embarrassed, but it's kind of funny. And then one of the better things that Ryan says is, "What does he? He calls you a biatch."
Yeah.
What does he say? He calls you a biatch.
Yeah, biatch.
It's cute. It's very fun, and it's very satisfying. Look at your face.
Well, I'm reading the next scene.
So then when it's time to say goodbye to Summer, that scene was like a very...
I remember crying.
Yeah.
They were real.
They were real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love you. I love you.
No.
I mean, I think, it's one of those things because when doing research for this podcast, I read so much. There's essays, there's interviews, there's comments, there's people discussing all this, and people were wondering if like we all had affection for each other, and we did. We absolutely did. This was not easy.
Well,
yeah, no. I think I know what you meant. Everyone hated me, and you all agreed about that, and that's what made you join together.
Right.
Yeah, totally. We're on the
that's
same
really
page.
what
We're
we
totally on the
bonded
same
over.
page. Yeah.
Okay,
and
so
I killed Marissa
yes.
somehow also.
Yeah,
definitely.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Definitely look like Volchuk.
Then Marissa says it's time for me to say goodbye. And she walks into the model home, and when we catch up with her, she's like sobbing and remembering way back when. And this scene between these two, my mind just goes to, I mean, even though it's only a few short years, but when you're working together 8 days a week,
it's
8 days an episode for that many, you know someone very, very closely. And so I actually see Ben and Misha in this scene.
Me too. 100%.
Totally.
And also the amount that your guys' lives changed in that amount of time. Like you lived a whole adult life in 3 years.
Right.
3 calendar years. Yeah, definitely.
Life changed.
I instantly thought that.
Yeah.
So she asks him if he thought they would ever actually be together.
He says when we first met, she says, or that night, did you think we'd ever be together? And he says, who says it won't? Yeah. What if we end up together? And what did you think at that moment? Did you think, oh, there's hope for them?
100%. I just thought she's gonna go on this boat, and then
I love that you thought she was just gonna go on a boat.
100% thought she was going on the boat. I knew Misha left the show. I didn't know the circumstances or any of the
this is priceless
scuttlebutt, and I was like, yeah, he's right. And if the show hadn't ended after 4, I knew that it had ended after 4. So if it hadn't ended after 4, yeah, maybe she could have come back. Like who knows? I don't know.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. And she says, I'm so, and this
is why it was horribly painful for me also, Mindy. You need to understand.
I'm so sorry. I didn't warn you. You were going to come on for the prom, but we had Uncle Mike on who directed it.
Oh, Uncle Mike.
But then, but she says, I'm sorry for everything. And he says, I wouldn't have done it any different.
Yep.
And
more
except
unconditional
maybe
love.
Oliver.
More unconditional love.
Which is a good joke.
Well, and this is and it's an interesting thing that Ryan is the happiest, literally, we've seen. And I think a lot of that has to do, and I just got chills, with that mother love and knowing that his mom is okay, because that is such a deep hole that has hopefully been filled up a little bit now, seeing how good his mom is and reconnecting with her and college. And so this is like literally the happiest, most peaceful we've seen Ryan. That's my take on it. Then when Seth brings Summer to his room with this huge, gigantic box, which is her graduation gift, I guess.
It's his acceptance letter.
Yes. She's like, there's nothing in here. I don't know why they just chose to put you in this huge box. But yeah, he's going to
me in a huge box? They put me in a box?
Well, it's this huge box.
And I'm in it?
So she's like, she goes, it's empty. And he says, no, it's not. And then you crawl into it
okay,
and
that
get
makes
the
sense.
letter
That
out.
tracks. I got it.
And they... He
He's
says he's
going
to
to
RISD in January.
Yeah,
right. So the second semester.
And he says, I'm sorry. And she's like, it's okay. Like everyone is like, Seth, it's okay. And you know what? More unconditional love, because you came forward. We love you. Being without you, I think, was so painful that, yes, let's move on. Yeah. And when I think what's interesting about a lot of this, when we look at these characters, are like, we can't let that go. Well, you know what? People who can't let go are not evolved. because it's the past. You can just, it's like, let it go, move on. As long as people are going to hopefully try not to do that behavior again. So anyway.
I'm just reading.
There was more improvs about hormones at the end too in the box.
Yeah.
I was watching with Adam last night and he was giggling about it. And I said, Adam literally buttons every scene with an improv.
Yeah.
Especially in this
And
episode.
they always use them.
Yeah.
They do always use
Especially
them.
Matt Ramsey was talking about it, and Jeff Granzow was talking about the fact that he said,
they always
out of
keep
any
it.
actor I've ever edited,
Oh, calm down.
it's Adam Brody who's the one
But
who
his
improvised
career
the
actually
most.
ended right after this show. So who knows what he even means.
So
okay, let's get to the end, you guys.
They're driving to the airport, and I love the symbolic of this sign on the road that says you're leaving Orange County.
Oh,
Because I don't know where that is, but it's like,
Chills.
It's probably I think these roads were probably somewhere, I don't know where they were, but they were
it
probably
looks
out.
like Griffith Park.
Did it?
It looks like this
It
road I
does.
run on the north side.
They're kind of small
Did you say
streets.
that just so you could plug
Yeah, I
that
just
you
dropped
run?
this in real quick. I run a lot in mountains.
So in the
Come
meantime,
find me.
Volchek and Heather have been, I guess, stalking them. And of course, he's drinking from the flask. And she's like, maybe I should drive. And he's like, no way. So then we come up to Marissa and Ryan having this conversation about, they're moving away is scary. Going to college is scary. And that they're still going to stay in touch. And then all of a sudden, this van comes up behind them. Now, what are you doing? Pull over. Let's finish this. Let's finally finish this. What are you doing? We're going to crash. It felt like I kept just saying, put on the brakes. Stop the car.
Yeah.
So he has this big curve coming up and he can't take the curve because they're going too fast. He could have hit the brakes, but didn't. The car flips, ends up on another road. Amazing stunt, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Amazing
that car
stunt with that
really went
car.
down that hill.
And that's why it was the Land Cruiser.
And there's something
My
incredibly
input is valuable.
well done in the production value that there's no sound, just crickets and dripping gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan talking about how he serves things. I was just blown away by, he's in shock, but they decided to play this thing very quiet and eerie.
Yeah.
Not, oh my gosh, Marissa, let me get you out. Like there's not any of this verbal explosion of drama and stress. It's got to do what I got to do.
Mm-hmm.
I see what I have to do. And there's people in the world that are like that when things like this happen, right?
Yeah.
Pulls her out.
Well, Ryan's seen like a fireman's amount of trauma and emergency.
He's
So
a
I
hotshot.
believed in a second that he would be like, all right, I got to do the job now. Like he'd get this person out of this car.
And he pulls her out and starts walking. And we instantly have this humming of
It's
Imogen
not
Heap.
okay.
It's not okay.
And thank you, Leonard Cohen, for that original song that everyone has covered. And a very interesting way to use the song. It's just this.
And Imogen Heap did this cover for us.
And then we instantly have an image of him in the pilot carrying her
That
Tijuana.
I can't.
They intercut it with it?
Yeah,
Yes.
dude. The like
What is wrong
flashback,
with them?
It's
I mean,
here's the thing. Sometimes you get manipulated and you just have to sit there and go, you're manipulating me and I acknowledge it and
Yeah.
I'm gonna go there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what happened to me when I watched this.
So what happened when this was happening to you?
I was like, like when they showed him in the pilot, they
Sobbing.
showed him do that. Yeah, I was a wreck.
you're
a wreck.
even talking about it and I'm gonna like lose my shit.
Yeah.
Like it's just not, it's too emotional.
It was, it was a lot. It was in my garage, my cold garage. And it felt colder and more lonely than it ever
Really?
had. It was so gnarly.
When I read the script and then I saw it, I remember thinking how fascinating it was that Ryan is just Marissa, and she plays this. Don't leave. No, I got to get help. Don't leave. No, Ryan, don't leave. And he says, Marissa, and there's nothing really to say. It wasn't this big long speech. It wasn't I love you. It wasn't a goodbye. But I have heard that people who know they're going to die, they know it. And she's saying, don't leave.
How can we like confirm that? People that like know they're gonna die and then they die. They know they're gonna die. Like
Because
how could we ask
I saw
them
this
if they're
thing
dead?
recently that said it was a paramedic that was saying I've been 75% of the people in an ambulance say, I feel like I'm going to die. He's
And
like,
then they do?
a lot of them do.
Whoa.
So they know. So a lot of people know. And when you know something's really wrong.
I will say something. This is super eerie. And a kid I knew was, I mean, he was murdered or whatever. But like as he was dying, he was like, I don't want to die. Like scared because he could feel. Okay, this is so morbid. I can't. Michael, talk.
Well, I will say about this scene with him holding her. I mean, first of all, incredible performances, like just top to bottom, unbelievable.
In shock.
It's just.
She doesn't want him to leave her.
Yeah. And the writing is wonderful too, because he should leave. Like really her best shot. Yeah. Like once he gets her away from that car, if she, just.
She kind of goes out pretty
functionally,
fast, though.
she does. She would have died alone on that street.
Right.
But the thing that would keep him there is their history that the audience, we have witnessed. Right. I mean, that's really what she's saying.
Well,
she's saying, you're my safety.
She's saying, I know I'm going to die right now. At least be with me as I
it's not gonna
slip
help.
away. That's my interpretation.
Well, and he's like, basically, oh my gosh, I'm about to cry. Fuck.
I can't look at you because I'll
it's
cry.
Brutal.
I can't look at you.
Basically.
It's okay to cry, Rachel.
It's not okay to cry, Michael.
But he's literally saying to her, he's literally saying, when she says, don't leave, he's literally like, I have to be here for your last breath. Okay, so.
Just watch it.
I think what we're doing here is really pitching this episode to people.
Totally.
They should definitely.
Also, we're giving them a clear
this.
exit sign on this podcast.
In their cold garage is where they should watch this episode.
Oh, man.
We're actually going to do the podcast for this show from the cold garage for season 4. Come on back. Let's roll an ad.
So as we leave, as she passes away, there's the flashback from the pilot of Sandy and Ryan seeing her as they pull away at the end of the pilot.
Yeah, she's just, and in the pilot, she's just awkwardly standing there. And it's so horribly awkward and like, it's so her when they show it again in this episode.
So I wanted to say some of these things. I think it's really important to discuss a couple of these things because Josh couldn't be here. But, that he had all these quotes. There was so the ramifications of Marissa dying were really interesting because he said, that the Ryan and Marissa characters had become a stranglehold around the show and they couldn't figure out any way to break out of it. Like that was this. These were now there's a timeline of him talking about the show as up until recently. And there were a bunch of reasons they made the decision. Some were creative and some were practical. And then as the show went on, as the years went on, did he regret killing Marissa? And he said, it's just something that gives you pause. And the idea of letting her come full circle to have some kind of salvation or closure, it really resonates with me now. I think this was in 2016. He said it was hard. It was hard to end the series and not have her be a part of it too. And the day after it aired or the night it aired, there was a real outcry from the contingency of the fans. Some girls couldn't go to school the next day. He said, but Misha showed up every day, did her job, did a great job, worked really hard. So it had nothing to do with her. And it upset a lot of people in a way that the show was designed to bring pleasure. And it was very final in the way that we could never resolve it. It was a decision that was made for a lot of reasons that seemed like informed reasons at the time. And then over time, that's what he said. That's what he said on your live when we were promoting the podcast. It's an interesting thing about the fact that once we went into season 4, our ratings dropped like dramatically. And I don't think anybody realized how much people were tuning in to see Misha. I think creatively, it's a great, great episode. And I think it was really, really powerful. Mm-hmm. But it was, and it served the next season. So there's my little thing.
On that note, let's do a rapid fire with Michael Cassidy.
Oh my God.
Aww.
Guys.
You ready for this?
You really, I hope it's happier than what you've made me do prior to coming here. It just really sledgehammered me and the rest of America, as you just described. So, all right, let's give it a try. First, let's run an ad. It's so sad.
Well, and then we're going to get into season 4. You will watch those episodes?
I watch the episodes.
They're going to be painful.
Those are going to be painful?
Yeah.
Why?
Who else dies?
Because we're in grief.
Oh. Well, I mean, that I can handle.
Okay, good.
Okay. Rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Strawberry blonde or brunette?
Okay. Brunette.
Are you
Water
sure?
polo or comic books?
Water polo.
Vespas or bicycles?
Bicycles. I'm not messing with a Vespa ever again.
Pot or booze?
I know. I was like, I spelled boo. Like, boo. Are you scared?
Booze.
Pot or booze?
Alcohol. Booze.
Marissa dead or alive?
Alive. Good gracious.
Chef's hat or cowboy hat?
Chef's hat. That's my thing.
You were the Swedish Muppet chef.
That's my thing.
That was you.
Gnocchi. Am I saying it right? Speaking of pronunciation. Okay.
Oh, Volchuk or Oliver?
Volchuk. I'm definitely a Cam guy.
He killed Marissa.
I think if we just talk about it from a legal perspective,
Creative?
I have some issues with Ryan's choices leading up to the crash, and then I'm totally on board once the crash happens. But like you, I really wish that he had done something evasive. Also, he had demonstrated his physical power over Volchuk prior to that.
Yeah.
So just pull over and do it again. Like, this guy's asking for another face rearranging.
Yeah.
And it's time. And he's still handsome.
In that scene where
He's still handsome.
Marissa says, pull over, and Ryan says, where? So it was meant to feel like there was no, but he could have just
She just
stopped.
wants to shoot down your...
I bought it narratively, but I feel that Ryan carries some of the burden of her death. I do feel that.
Well, what do you think happens in the fourth season?
I don't have any idea.
It's all his fault.
Oh, really? He really
goes...
He blames himself?
He really goes
Yes.
off the deep end.
All right, good. That's appropriate. I think that's appropriate. He deserves to feel that way.
Okay. High school or
Is
college?
Volchuk in season 4?
Excuse me.
Yes.
We shouldn't do the
Is he?
Michael
Yes.
Cassidy gets
He's
educated
in season
episode.
4?
Yes. Julie has it out for him.
I thought you were going to say Julie has an affair with him. And I'm like, okay.
No.
All right.
Well, you have to meet, it's a meet cute.
High school or college?
Oh, college. I haven't never experienced it. So
You never experienced high school?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Season 2 or season 3?
Season 2, season 3 is dead to me. It doesn't exist. It's a horribly dramatic thing that I did with my friends just now over the last hour and nothing else. Season 2 lives on forever. And it has more jokes.
It has more jokes.
And less death. Wait, so Trey didn't die? Oh, you guys,
No, Trey
we'll
did
talk
not.
about.
He did not die.
Oh, okay.
So one day you'll go back and watch this with your kids when it's appropriate.
I'm going to do a
And
podcast about this podcast. So I'll watch the show and then I'll do episodes about the episodes about the episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start from the pilot with Michael Cassidy next year.
Yeah. And I'll be like, you guys, this show is so good.
And you know what? I'd be watching it and I'd be like, what?
Totally.
Well, everybody.
Cast, are you listening? Michael is a great.
Yeah. I'm pitching I have a podcast. We'll talk.
You have a pearl necklace. Is what you have.
No.
Thank you so much for listening. Follow, rate, and review. Welcome to the OC Bitches, wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you like to watch us, check it out on YouTube. And you can now listen to bonus features from this episode with Michael and season 1 and season 2 of the OC Bitches on Cast Plus. Bye, bitches.
Bye.
That's your line.
Bitches.